Hola, Senor Marcus. I greet you in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Hi. Hi. I'm back. So, obviously, you've been watching the previous two videos that I posted on Facebook and YouTube. Well, there's a bit I forgot to mention before I went into before I entered the mental hospital, and before I stayed at my mum's, and before the ghost came into my house from the Guardian Church. So this bit, what I'm about to reveal to you, is just before everything. This is when I had just left the church. Before the mental hospital, before I went in, before the ghost came into my house, before I got corrupted by them, and what happened. So this happened after I had left the Guardian Church Pentecostal District Church in Archway. So the thing what was after that traumatizing experience in that church, the second church, not the first one, not the one in Dominion, Wood Green, the second one. Oh gosh, what happened? I was at home and what did I do? I went to my mum's and spent talking to her about everything what went on in the church before I left. And I stayed with her for that day, during the day. And then as I was going home at 9, I was near the bus stop, at the 41 bus stop in the Archway. And while I was waiting for the 41 bus to go back to Wood Green, what happened? Oh gosh, there was this guy just walking around. I think he was one of those guys that, you know, who go for I don't know what you would call it, gay cruising. And he spoke to me, and I said, "Oh, hi," and then I said, we started talking, and as we were talking, I was talking about my experience in the Dominion Church in Wood Green and the Pentecostal Church District in Archway. And what happened? We got talking, and then my bus came, and then I took his number, and then blah 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 blah. A few days later, I called that number, and he was saying to me, "Are you lonely? Or do you need someone?" I'm like, "I'm pretty good on my own, thank you. I'm not really into, same-sex relationship. I don't really believe in it." But he said, "Oh yeah, there's this guy up in Archway where you came. He's available." And I said, "Okay." Gave him a call. And I spoke to him on the phone, but the thing was really weird when I was talking to him. There was like an evil spirit from him when I was talking to him. I felt a bit uncomfortable when I was talking to him, and I felt like something had entered into him in the house, right? And I felt, this is interesting, because I felt like something had jumped into his body. I could just sense it just by talking to this guy. And and then maybe about, I think it was like 2 days later, I was putting some music on, and I was listening to a track from Ashley Simpson, pop music song. I think it was Pieces of Me, a little pop rock song from Ashley Simpson. I was listening to that while I was packing some stuff out in my preparing myself to meet this person. But what I didn't realise was, when I actually went there, that I was doing a temptation. If you look in, I'm going to keep lining up the scripture here. So it's, hang on, give me a second. Okay, so it's Matthew chapter 4, and it reads, I'm reading from verse 1, chapter 4, verse 1 to 10, and I'm going to read. Then Jesus was led into the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. When he fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he afterwards hungered. When the temptation came to him, he said, If you be the Son of God, command these stones to be made bread. But he answered and said, It's written, man shall not live by bread alone, but every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. Then the devil took him up to a high holy city and set him on the pinnacle of the temple. He said, If you be the Son of God, cast yourself down, for it's written, She gives his angels charge concerning thee, and in their hand shall bear you up any time, dash your foot against a stone. Jesus said unto him, It is written again, Thou shalt not tempt the Lord. Again the devil took him up to an exceedingly high mountain and shewed him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them. And he said, All these things I will give thee, if thou fall down and worship me. Verse 10. Then Jesus said, Get thee hence, Jesus, for it is written, Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and only them shall serve. And then the devil left it, and behold, angels came to minister unto him. So, yeah, so that's basically what I was doing. I was doing a temptation. So as I carry on, so I travelled. I walked it from my home all the way to Archway, obviously, and I walked there, and I was seeing signs of the person winning, which was going there. And then when I got to the bus stop right near Archway, I remember looking for the house of where I'm gonna meet this guy, and I got a text from my phone, and it was from the guardian elders from the First Church, and they were saying to me, Come back to the church, Ma, we're sorry how we treated you, just come back to the church. And I just ignored it, obviously. So then I rang the guy again, and then he came out of his house, and he came to greet me, and so we went in, we talked, and I sat there. I was still not well, because obviously I had remember that dream I had with the sexual dream. I was still unwell, because of sickness, in the body. And I sat there, and he was talking to me, and we spoke, and then we talked, and I was telling him about my bad experience in the church and everything like that, and he said he was a teacher, and he does all that. So then I was about to leave. Then he said, Are you leaving so soon? Oh, no. And then I said, I got this text message from the church. What does it say? And when he said, I said to him, Oh, it's the guardian saying they want to read me. And then he said, Ask them what it means to read. So when I texted them back, they didn't respond. So as I sat there that in the room talking to him, I could notice that something wasn't right. And we started talking, and he started showing me this lady's poem from Medea's family reunion, which had this black lady who was in the Tyler Perry film about a poem that she did. And then he said to me, Are you the one with the illness that's going around here? Because he knew I was really ill. And he said to me, what is it? Is it worms in your body? And I said, I didn't respond when he said that. And he said, Oh, so you must be the one who was having that illness around town. Because they didn't know that I was the one that had the sickness in my body. You know what I mean? People didn't know that. So when he said that, I was like, And then he said, so what do you do? What I'm doing, I'm just going to church and stuff like that. And he said, Oh, so I'm actually writing scriptures from the Bible and stuff like that. And he said, Oh, maybe you should write a book. And then he said, I said, maybe. And then he started saying, it was like Marlon Brando. And he said, Marlon Brando? Who's that? Oh, he's an actor. And then he was saying that they saw him as mad, and he ended up in a mental hospital, and everyone thought he was very sane, but he was really sane. Then he said he is like the world's biggest novelist in the world. I'm like, okay. So he was throwing little hints out to me about what I was going to become in the future. So I listened very good. And then just before I was going to leave again, he tried it on with me. I said, no, you're not trying anything with me. And then he put on this song from License to Kill, from Gladys Knight, from License to Kill with James Bond. And then when I was listening to the lyrics, it was basically saying stuff like what I was going to do in the distant future. And I was like, and I was listening to the words, and then it was talking about what is going to happen in the distant future. And so I was like, okay. And then I went, well, obviously it was late, so I had to stay here, so I had a shower, and then I slept there. I spent the night there with him, just like in the Bible, Matthew 5, chapter 5, verse 1 to 10. That's basically, I was basically doing a temptation, and I didn't even realise it. Completely oblivious to what I was actually doing. Completely oblivious. So then after I spent there, and then I said, I want to have a look at that code again, and then I didn't. And then he gave me, when we left, he gave me, what did he give me? He gave me a £5 to, to go home. So I walked and I smiled and I laughed because I was really happy that I, unknowingly, that I had done a sexual temptation, which was nothing sexual, but it was a temptation. So I went home and I walked it. When I was walking home, walking from Archway to Hornsey to Wood Green, when I was walking, there was all these people walking from the bus station, because there was like a row of people walking down to Archway, because I think it was weird. It was just like everyone was walking towards Archway on the left hand side of near Hornsey, like a row of people, like a big. They had to get off the bus, or I don't know what the situation. Maybe they had to get off the bus and they had to walk it all the way back to Archway. I don't know, but I saw an army of people walking towards Archway as I was going the direction near Hornsey Rise. I saw them all walking and stuff, but that was quite interesting. And everyone was obviously at that time. The prophecy had. The prophecy was still at the early stages because it was just the first year, So as I walked it all the way to Hornsey and I walked all the way to my home, I didn't take bus, I just carried on walking. And then when I got to a petrol station, I just handed the money, the £5 the guy gave me, to the shopkeeper, because I didn't want his dirty money. I didn't want to use his money to get home. I said I'll rather walk it all the way from my home. I walked it there the day before, and then I'm walking it back to my home. Got home, Mum called me and she said, "Where have you? I've been trying to get you." I said, "Oh, Mum, well, I was doing something," and then I didn't get around to it. But obviously, my mum doesn't know that I was doing like a temptation with the Ghanaian elder, what went inside that man's body to reveal prophecies that hasn't even happened yet, So that was it. And then the rest of it, my testimony from my previous 2 testimonies, where I left off. So this was just a reminder of what happened before all the stuff happening with the church and and the mental hospital and how I got there and everything. This is just a missing piece that I forgot to reveal on 2 videos before the last